So I know we're not quite into December just yet, but I wanted to give you the latest savings news and special offers just in advance. So in a couple of weeks' time, I can give you all the top rates. Of course, if you can't wait to find out which are the highest paying accounts out there right now, then head over to becleverwithyourcash.com/savings. You'll see all different options there: easy access, fixed, ISA, regular saver, stocks and shares. All those kind of options will be listed over there, updated by the team every single day. But in the meantime, let's get into what's happening right now that you need to know about when it comes to your savings. And the first thing to talk about very, very briefly is the budget, because it's taking place this Wednesday on the 26th of November. I've covered previously some of the speculation, which is looking incredibly likely is going to happen in terms of a reduction to the cash ISA allowance, how much you can pay into every single year. We've had nothing new since then. Maybe we'll get something this weekend, start of the week, but generally what will happen is on Wednesday, we'll get details of what those plans are going to be, if it's going to happen, or anything else that might come along that does impact your savings. And we will be doing a video on Wednesday afternoon, as soon as all the information is through, letting you know not just what's happening with ISAs, but all the other big announcements, because we are expecting more as well when it comes to taxation and other areas that will have an impact on your finances. So remember to come back to the channel on Wednesday. What else is going on? So the latest inflation figures, which came out last week, talk about a rate of 3.6% CPI. Now, this is down. This was expected to be down. So this does kind of lead into the Bank of England's kind of expectation that inflation has peaked. That 3.8% that we saw over the kind of last 3 months prior to that, coming back down, although it's going to take a while for it to get back down to that actual 2% rate. But bearing in mind we also have the budget and things in there could potentially be inflationary, it looks like, or at least the expectations from the markets are, that we might see a base rate cut in December. The end of the month is on the 18th of December, which would see it probably come down to 3.75%. Now, this might not happen. Whenever these predictions come along, something else comes along in the weeks and days before the actual meeting that change things completely. But at the moment, there is an expectation that there could be a cut, say, in December. The most likely option is going to be a reduction. Now, if that does happen, talking about here in the savings update, because obviously some accounts are linked, there are tracker accounts linked to the base rate. Some popular easy access accounts over the last year have moved into that kind of thing. So they will automatically fall straight away as soon as that base rate happens, if it happens. But also you might expect, if they are like thinking this is going to happen, you might see other accounts starting to reduce their rates as well, building up to that, at least the shorter term ones. Longer term fixes are based on longer term predictions. So they might not change at all. Again, it depends on where those longer term predictions are going as well. But we've already seen, for example, Ulster pull their 4.5% easy access account, which is one of the best options out there for large amounts of cash. And that could just be they decided to pull it, or it could be they're going, actually, we're going to reissue it at a later date with a lower rate. At least that's for new customers. So something to bear in mind there, that we might be seeing a cut coming very soon. Another bit of news that has come through, and this was kind of already teed up. We kind of thought something would happen because it was proposed earlier in the spring. But this is a change to the Financial Services Compensation Scheme limit, the FSCS. Now, this is how much money you can have in a single financial institution, which generally means in a bank, although there is a complication I'll come back to in a moment there, that if that bank was to go bust, you'll be able to claim that money back from effectively a central pot that all the banks pay into. So this has been £85,000 for a long, long, long time, since it was last reviewed a while back. The proposal was to increase it to 110,000, but it's actually going up to 120,000 from the 1st of December. So that means you don't ever want to have more than 120k in a single bank, because a penny over that, then that money over it won't be protected. So only up to that limit. But again, that's a very, very high, very, very strong limit. And whenever I've talked about Financial Services Compensation Scheme protection before, this is really a thing about, should you ever have that amount of money in a savings account? For most people, the answer is probably no. But again, remember, this is not just all your savings. This is for a single financial institution. And I see there's a bit of a complication there. It's because some banks are part of the same firm, but they operate separately. Some banks are part of the same firm and share that license. So you have to be careful there with some of those banks, just to double check, is it a single financial institution or is it shared? And you can find, we've got a whole article on becleverwithyourcash.com that takes you through this in more detail, including some of those big ones to keep an eye on. But just of note there, just worth talking about, there have obviously been some takeovers this year. So Nationwide has taken over Virgin Money. Well, they operate on separate licenses. So if you've got money in Nationwide and in Virgin Money, it doesn't matter. They are completely separate. But again, we're talking about huge amounts of cash in each of them for that to be an issue. And similarly, with Coventry Building Society taking over Cooperative Bank, they are separate as well. But again, there are more you need to sort of look into there potentially. Where you also have to be careful, again, it's a huge amount of money, is when you are using some of those third-party apps which don't actually hold the money themselves. They often have their money saved with a different provider. So you think you're opening up a chip account, for example, but actually the money's with ClearBank. If you've got a number of those and a lot of money in a number of those, you might not realise that you're all in a single financial institution. But generally speaking, for most people, it's not going to be a problem because there is so much money there. Now, you might be thinking, but what happens when I sell a house but don't buy a new house straight away, or I get an inheritance or something like that? Large amounts of money that would take you over that £120,000. Well, there is a temporary high balance protection as well, which lasts for 6 months. And this is increasing too, from 1 million to 1.4 million. So again, all round good news for you for protecting your finances. But I wouldn't worry too much about it. Just try to make sure you don't have more than these figures in a single bank account with a single particular institution. And obviously the big speculation when it comes to the budget does surround cash ISAs. But whatever happens there doesn't mean you should avoid them. If anything, you might want to be thinking in the next coming days about putting more money into an ISA just in case changes do come along. But as I've covered previously, those things aren't going to happen overnight. So you should be fine for a while yet. However, it's worth telling you about some new providers. They've entered the market offering cash ISAs for the first time. Now, some of these have got particularly good rates. Some of them have got just okay rates. But where it's potentially interesting, even if the rate isn't the best one out there, is that you often find when you look at the top of the tables, the best rates out there are reserved for new customers with bonuses that only last for 12 months. So if you've had accounts with those providers for more than a year, then often you're kind of stuck, aren't you? You can't open up another one at those top of the table. But these new ones mean you've got another chance to do that. Now, the first one is from eToro. At the time of recording this, we're offering 4.67%. Which includes a 0.8% bonus for 12 months. Now, again, this is just for newbies, but because it's a brand new account, everyone's a newbie, so everyone's going to be eligible for this. And now to get that rate, though, that bonus rate, you do have to open the account and add money or transfer money into this cash ISA before the 31st of December 2025. Once you do that, obviously, then the bonus will last for a year. After a year, as with all of these accounts, you want to shop around, potentially see which one can get you a better rate if moving your money elsewhere. Now, this is limited access, I should say, as well. So if you take your money out more than 3 times in a year, you will lose that bonus. So this is not going to be one for people who want to get that cash. And on regular occasions, it's you're putting the money in and don't think you'll need it, but maybe if you want to dip in, you can. The other thing worth noting with this eToro Cash ISA is it isn't technically held in cash. Instead, it's invested in a qualifying money market fund, a QMMF. This is a very, 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 very low risk investment. Effectively, it is the same as cash. When you see uninvested cash earning interest in stocks and shares, ISAs or in GIAs, generally they are QMMFs as well. But eToro say this is still protected under that protection, the FSCS protection for investments. So the initial fund, at least, the amount is protected if it's go bust. Doesn't obviously cover any losses you would make with broader investing. But again, QMMF, they're giving you an interest rate. It isn't really investing, but it is. But if you know what I mean, but it's worth having a look at that. And a particularly high rate there, 4.67 at the time of recording, that is the best you can get. Another new one is from Hargreaves Lansdown, another investment firm. But unlike eToro, they've got a history of offering savings accounts as well. Now, what they do is something similar to Raisin. If you've used Raisin before, called a marketplace, you would open up a Hargreaves Lansdown account. And then within that, you can access a number of different savings accounts from a number of different providers. So you've got a good list of different cash ISAs you can get from different people within that Hargreaves Lansdown, effectively, wallet. The top paying one, though, is actually one that they are branding themselves, but it's powered by Shawbrook, currently at 4.55%. So another high paying one out there for those of you who aren't able to get some of the other top paying accounts from the Best Buy tables. The other two, just to give you a shout so you know they're happening, but the rates aren't anything to be that bothered about, are Atom and Tandem. They've both launched cash ISAs very recently. Again, take a look if you really want to stick with them, but personally, I'll be looking over at becleverwithyourcash.com/ISAs for the top paying options instead. Sticking with ISAs very quickly, just an update to Tembo and Plum ISAs because there have been changes when it comes to transfers. So with Tembo, their fixed ISAs now allow transfers in, although it's a minimum of £500 required. So if you've got some money elsewhere that you want to move over, and if the rates are competitive, then it's certainly something to look at. And then meanwhile, Plum, They have now changed the rules slightly. Previously, the new member bonus was only for new deposits. However, it now allows transfers in to also get that increased rate. So it's another one to consider there. And this follows on the change last month where they got rid of the limited access part of the account. So all round, a better proposition for you. And again, they generally tend to have one of the higher rates out there. Now, you might have noticed that NS&I, National Savings and Investments, they're the guys who run premium bonds. But they also have a number of other savings options available, which is the government savings accounts effectively. Their guaranteed income bonds have actually gone up in rate. Most other places are staying still or going down, apart from the odd one here or there. But these ones reverse that and push their rates up. So a 1 year one gets 4.2, a 2 year fix at 4.1, 3 year fix 4.16, and a 4 year fix at 4.15, which sounds great, but actually you can beat all of those. So yes, you can now get more if you really, really want to go with NS&I. Remember, they do have a much, much higher level of protection, up to £1 million. But for most people, you're better off, I think, shopping around, getting a better rate, particularly with that increased FSCS protection of up to 120k per financial institution. You might not even need to have all your money in one pot with that larger protection that NS&I give. And before we get on to special offers, just a reminder, I did cover this in more detail in a separate video recently, that CHIP have increased the prizes for their Prize Saver account. This is a tax-free draw, so potentially a competitor to premium bonds. If you are an additional rate taxpayer, then and you pay interest on all of your savings interest, then you might want to consider this, particularly if you've used up your other allowances. Similarly, if you are a basic or higher rate taxpayer, but you've used up your PSA, you used up your ISA, used up your premium bonds, you might want to look at it. Again, cover that in more detail separately. But the big thing here to remember is 1st of December is when you can start putting money in for it to count for the draw that starts at the start of January. Top prize is £250,000, and there is a total of £500,000 across all the other prizes. There are a lot more low value prizes compared to previous draws. So if you want to take part of that, 1st of December is when you probably want to start putting your money into it. Okay, and let's finish on some savings special offers. Now, the first one is one I told you about in the last update. This is from Raisin. This one ends on the 30th of November. Now, this one will give you a bonus of up to 150 quid, but the lowest bonus is 40 quid. The minimum you can save is 10 grand. I can cover this in more detail in that last update, plus over at becleverwithyourcash.com/savings. Definitely check for it. You have to go via the link, use the code that we've got there, and make sure you read those terms and conditions. This is for fixed rate accounts for 1 year, effectively giving you an extra 0.4 bonus on the current best rates out there. So it is the best way to get a boost on your fixed rate savings right now and be the top paying account out there. There's also a bonus you can get from Top Cashback. Top Cashback is one of the best cashback sites out there, in my opinion. They have a number of financial products on there, but one they've added recently is for Kahoot. Now, they are giving £25 cashback if you open up the Sunny Day Saver. Now, this is one of the top paying easy access accounts right now at 5%. Very, very hard to get more than 5% anywhere on your savings. Now, this account has a maximum of £3,000. So it's not for huge amounts of cash, but if you've got 3 grand, getting 5% on it from Kahoot is a really good option. An extra 25 quid, well, you can't go wrong with that either. It's an extra 0.83% boost on top of that. If you have never used Top Cashback before, don't forget there are welcome bonuses listed over at becleverwithyourcash.com. Now, you can't use those for this particular offer because you have to spend £10 to trigger the free 20 quid, potentially a free 30 quid over Black Friday. But again, it's worth doing that for the first time and then opening up that Kahoot account via the link within Top Cashback. A new one for you this month as well, Tembo. They are offering a Black Friday deal. This is up to £300 transfer bonus on a new lifetime ISA. Now, you have to transfer at least £5,000 and you have to transfer over your entire lifetime ISA from the other provider. You can't just do a partial transfer. The entire amount has to come over. Now, if you do transfer over £5,000, you get 30 quid, and the amount the bonus increases the more you transfer over. Now, that £300, which is the maximum bonus you can get, is based on a transfer of £50,000. Get more information about this over on becleverwithyourcash.com. And finally, this one is available to you via your savings account, but it's not actually about savings. It's about Kids Pass, which basically gives you discounts to kids attractions, kids meals, things like that. Now, if you open up a Santander savings account or cash ISA and deposit at least £100 within 30 days, then you can get this Kids Pass, a year's Kids Pass, for free, for nothing at all. So you may as well give it a go if you're after one. If you've got 100 quid, you put it in a Santander account. It doesn't have to stay there, particularly once you've got that Kids Pass sent through to you, then you can withdraw that money if you want. Just an easy way to get a Kids Pass. But obviously, one of the best savings accounts out there right now, the highest paying ones, is the Santander Edge Saver, which pays 6% on balances of up to £4,000. So you could open that one. That one qualifies for this offer as well. But don't forget, in order to get that Santander Edge Saver, you do have to open up a Santander Edge current account. But there is also running, we don't know when this will finish, but there is a £200 bank switching offer available for Santander Edge current accounts. You could combine those, switch into a Santander Edge current account, open up the Edge Saver, put at least £100 into it, and also get a Kids Pass. So stack all those things together is not bad at all. Remember, I will give you a proper update on all the best accounts in a couple of weeks. In the meantime, becleverwithyourcash.com/savings or becleverwithyourcash.com/ISAs are the places to go for all the latest rates. My name's Andy Webb. Thanks so much for watching. Check out these videos here for more ways to make the most of your money.